I would like to welcome you to making an $11 chicken meal for your family. And I'm doing this with my lovely sister, Angeli. Hi, Angeli.
Hello.
Who you guys have met in other videos that Angeli and I have done together. She is the owner of Team Pilates and the Professional Ballet Institute up in Spokane, Washington. So we are making family dinner together, and we are going to be doing a whole roasted chicken. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take it out of its container, and we're going to just give it a quick rinse in the sink, and then we're going to put it on a roasting dish. While Angeli's rinsing hers, there are two reasons that we rinse this off. I've got my nice rinsed chicken. First reason is it's been sitting in the packaging. We just want to wash off anything that's been sitting on there. Second reason is a lot of whole chickens, just like whole turkeys, will have giblets in a bag inside. You really want to pull those out before you get to the roasting portion of this. Now that we have our rinsed chicken, we're going to make a rub for this. And it's actually going to sit in this rub for about an hour, hour and a half. And Angeli has already started with the garlic. So I'm going to bring my camera down. And we are going to work with garlic cloves. So we're going to use 4 garlic cloves to be able to do this. And I'm going to grab mine out of here. And I'm going to show you a nice, quick way to actually be able to get the skins off of these, which is a way that I have used with Angeli's sons when I cook with them. It's a great way to get the garlic out without having to peel it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the flat of our knife, set it next to it, and just do a quick hit. And then you can very quickly, very easily get your garlic clove out. So I'm going to do that with all 3 of these.
It would have been good information prior to me peeling.
But it's good to see the 2 different methods that we can use to get our garlic cloves out. All right. Now, one of the problems with the way that I do it is the fact that now I have this skin on my cutting board. So I just have to get the skin off the cutting board before I cut. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut these into nice little pieces. So I usually cut a garlic clove 3, and then I'll flip it 80 degrees or 90 degrees and cut it in half. And then we can very quickly just cut this up and mince this up. The other way to do this is I love organic pre-done garlic. So you can do that as well. And if you do that, it'll be about 2 teaspoons instead of cutting it fresh and having it be 4 cloves. We don't want to overpower the flavor. I'm sorry, what, Ange?
Pre-minced. Genius.
Pre-minced. And you can get that a lot of different stores. I love to get it at Whole Foods or Vitamin Cottage. I prefer Vitamin Cottage or Natural Grocers. Same company is my preferred go-to. That's actually where I got my chicken today. All right, so we've got our 4 cloves, and we're simply going to take these and put them into a mixing bowl. So I'm going to put these into my mixing bowl. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to use some oregano and some paprika. So I have some nice paprika here. It doesn't matter if type of paprika you get. Some are more smoky than others. So we're going to use 1 teaspoon of paprika. Just go ahead and put that in with the garlic.
The Ange way. Bloop, 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 bloop. Okay.
Yes, and that is how our mother always cooked. So that is absolutely a valid way to cook. Then you're going to use 1 teaspoon of dried oregano to get that in there. And you're going to use 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And get that all mixed together. And I'm going to mix it in just a minute with my hands so that you can see what we're going to be doing. In the meantime, I'm going to bring my chicken over. So I've got my chicken. And before you touch your chicken, you always want to get all your spices together. I'm also going to have you put in a teaspoon of salt. I like to fresh grind mine. This is my eyeballing of about a teaspoon of salt. And about a teaspoon of ground black pepper.
Which is holding up on my camera, so hang on.
And just so you know, this is a great way to cook with the family, especially since we may not be able to get together right now, or Angela and I live very far apart. So this is a great way to be able to get together with the family and cook. And we actually have done this with my brothers in Honduras as well. So your lemon juice, what you're going to do is you're going to take, you can do a whole lemon. It should be about 3 to 4 tablespoons of lemon juice, and pour that over the top of your lemon.
You're cheating again.
I'm cheating because I pre-did this because this is about 5 lemons that I did the other night because I use lemon juice in my Earl Grey martinis that I make myself.
Cheating.
I cheated. So I cheated because I did this the other night. So you want to make sure that you are rubbing this on the whole chicken, and it'll kind of be in the bottom of your roasting pan, and that's fine. So make sure you're rubbing that on all nice and good. And so this is going to give it a base to put our dry rub on along with the olive oil. This is also going to give it a little bit of a crispiness in there. So
I may have put my lemon juice in my little bowl.
And that is fine. That is absolutely fine because we've got our olive oil in there too.
I was busy putting the rest of the lemon juice in my mimosa, but now I've caught up.
All right, so what we're doing is we're mixing all the garlic, all of the herbs together. Now is the fun part. If you don't get to know your food, it's never going to be as good. So we're going to get to know our food, and we're going to give our chicken a nice dry rub down here.
A rub down.
And really make sure you're massaging this in.
Massaging in.
You want it to be nice and happy, good, happy, relaxed chicken before you cook it.
Never relaxed my chicken before I've cooked it. This is new.
But Angela has done recipes with me before for her 6 weeks to summer where I made people get to know their kale.
Relaxed chicken.
Massage their kale salad for a good 15 minutes. She's had me have her massage and get to know her food before.
Yes.
And this is also something to do with kids, especially if you have younger kids, where you can get them to do something like this. And if they are making the food and they are rubbing onto the food, then they are more likely to like it, want to try it.
Who doesn't like to rub food?
Yes. So this is actually a very nice, very good thing. And if you've got places where the skin is coming up, you can actually, like this spot right here, you can actually rub some of that under the skin as well. If your skin is not coming up, don't spend the time trying to make it come up. It's not worth the effort. All right, so we've got this. I like to put it face down so that the wings right here are on top, and I can tuck the wings underneath like that. Now, because this is a dry rub, we actually want to marinate with this. So we're going to set a timer for an hour to an hour and a half. And once that's done, we're going to put it into the oven or into the refrigerator. All right, so I'm done. I'm going to wash my hands. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our vegetables ready. I've got 3 large carrots, got a couple of potatoes here, might do 2, might do 3, and then I'm going to do something completely different. And I'm going to put some golden beets in. So first thing I want to do is I want to peel all of these so then I can quickly cut them. All right, so peeling these, I've got a nice thing out in front of me. You can do this 2 ways. Sometimes I'll put down a not a napkin. Sometimes I'll put down a paper towel, and that way you can just easily clean it up. But make sure that you're not getting it all over the kitchen, and if you've got a piece like this in front of you that you're going to be cutting your cutting board on, it makes it really easy to clean up what you're going to be doing. So I always take off peel my carrots, and I'm going to peel my beets. I'm not actually going to peel my potatoes. I like the skin on the potatoes because it gives me some fiber, some of the vitamins that are in the potatoes, and I don't then have to worry about the fact that it's just straight starch. But I just like to get the outer layer off of the carrots. Makes it easy to get any dirt or anything that was on there back off. You can actually peel beets. A lot of people don't think of peeling beets other than when they're cooked and the skin comes off. But as you can see, you can actually quite quickly peel a beet. And so this, I like beets. And this is going to give it a nice color. The more colorful that I can get my veggies, the happier I am, because I'm getting a nice good mix of vitamins, getting a good mix of vitamins and minerals in there that we can utilize to keep ourselves healthy. So these are just a really nice color. I very much also, I'm going to lift that up a little bit. I very much also like red beets, but I don't happen to have any red beets in the house, and I had several golden beets from my weekly Farm to Fork delivery that I get.
Nice.
To make sure that I utilize all the veggies that I get every week. And that's actually a really nice way if you have a local area, local farms that can have a co-op that can send and deliver vegetables out to you, vegetables and fruits weekly. That's always really nice because then you have them in the house. You don't have to worry about going to the store to get them. From them, I've gotten the carrots, the potatoes that we're using, the beets, as well as the onion that we're going to be cooking up, cutting up. Just going to have fun, and we're just going to cut these. And as you can see, I have my wine off to the side. Angela and I like to mimosa and wine together when we cook. So Angela's got her mimosa, I've got my wine. Okay, so I finished peeling those. Nice thing about this, I can pick it up and I can easily take it behind me, my garbage can, and I have cleaned up my peels. Now all we're going to do is we're going to cut these into chunks. And I'm going to take off the ends of my carrots just so that I don't have to worry about those. and we're just going to cut them. You've heard me say before, I don't really care about the size of them. There are some people that say everything needs to be the same exact size. Nice to have different bites of different things and not have everything exactly the same size. A lot of people say that you need the same size so that everything cooks evenly. It's going to cook whether you have them different sizes or the same size. So I'm not really worrying about the size of these. And I know Angela, and I know she's also not worrying about the size of these.
Know what we're talking about. Totally okay. Cooking.
All right, so I've got my carrots done. I'm going to do my beets. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, because they roll, cut my beets in half so that I don't have rolling beets. And then I'm simply going to slice them, and I'm making them a 1/2 inch. And then the longer ones, if you want, you can cut them in half. Again, I'm not, going to worry all that much about the sizes. All right, so this one, since it's a little bit thicker, I am going to take it, put it on its side, and do one more cut before I go this way. One thing, always remember, especially when you're cutting vegetables that are hard, always have a good knife. People get injured when they have knives that are not sharp. That's when people have a tendency to get injured. So make sure that you've got good knives on you. Angela and I know, are using the same brand of knives, which are Cutco knives that are very, very nice.
We might know someone who could sell them to you.
Yes, we might know a Cutco representative. If you are interested, let us know.
Teacher, I've moved ahead to the onions. Are we mincing them?
We are mincing the onions. Yes.
Okay. I didn't have any beets.
And see, when you skip over adding things like beets, you can get done just a little bit faster.
Get ready. Woo. Don't touch your eyes.
Yes, do not touch your eyes. So depending on how well you like onions, definitely use half of your onion up to a full onion. I'm going to go ahead and use a full onion when I do this. Again, for my potatoes, I'm going to cut them in half before I do anything else with them, so I've got a nice flat surface and I don't have to worry about them rolling any direction on me when I'm attempting to cut them. So you can very quickly just slice them and you do that. So potatoes, typically, if this is more of a Mediterranean recipe, typically if there are potatoes in the Mediterranean, they are yellow potatoes, not the big Idaho russet potatoes. It really doesn't matter. Any type of potato will do for this. Small reds will work as well. All right, so I've got my, so for onions, you got to peel them. What I do for the onion is I will cut off one end of the onion, cut off the other end of the onion, and that actually is going to make it a lot easier to peel that nice out. And then I'm going to mince them. There are other ways to mince onions. I know Angela has a box that you can put it in and you can mince the onions. I have one of those. I also have a mandolin that you can slice your onions on if you want to slice them that way. Again, I'm not really caring how they're sliced, what they're going to look like. This is just going to be something that's going to go in with what we have. Now, to make sure while we're waiting for the hour and a half that our chicken is marinating, I want to make sure that my potatoes don't start to go a little bit dark. So I'm going to take some olive oil and I'm going to sprinkle it over the top just to make sure. Now, here's where you can put in the same types of herbs if you want. I'm going to use the rest of my oregano. I'm going to use my paprika. I'm going to put about 1.5 teaspoons of paprika on there. And I'm actually going to add some sage to this. Let me grab my sage really quickly.
What about, would that be okay?
You have what?
What about turmeric?
The turmeric will be very good. It's wonderful for you. The curcumin in it is actually a great anti-inflammatory. I wouldn't add too much just so it doesn't overpower the flavor. But turmeric would be perfect. Okay, so I'm going to take, this is sage that I have from my garden, and I'm simply going to grind it in my hands. I love sage in that it lowers blood pressure, and it's just got a really nice flavor, especially with meats. So putting this with the chicken will make it really, really nice. So we're just going to go and, again, get to know your food. Mix this in with your hands. Make sure that it's nice and covered. So again, we're mixing with our hands. Make sure we get to know our food. It's all covered. This way you can make sure you get the spices throughout the whole thing and they're not just sitting on the top of what you are doing. Now, as far as the chicken goes, cover it up with a little bit of aluminum foil so that it can marinate at room temperature for an hour to an hour and a half. Go ahead and cover your vegetables as well with some aluminum foil. The vegetables are actually going to go in after we have cooked our chicken for about an hour. So in an hour and a half, Angela and I will be coming back together to be finishing this up. So we will see y'all in an hour and a half. Thank you very much. The next step of this, my nephew, this is Kaz. Say hi, Kaz.
Hello.
Kaz is going to do the next step of our roasted chicken recipe. So he has his oven heated up to 350 degrees. And he is going to take the chicken, still covered, and he's going to put it into the oven for an hour.
Well, so I'm leaving it covered in the tin foil?
Leave it covered in the tin foil, and the reason we want to do that is really tempt the heat and to be able to keep the moisture in.
All right.
So 350, the first hour, we are going to cook the chicken by itself, and then we're going to add the vegetables. So I've already cooked mine for an hour, so I'm going to show you what to do with the vegetables. So I think Kaz is done with putting it in the oven.
Yes, it is in the oven.
Excellent. So let me show you what's going to happen next. So here I have the chicken that's been in for an hour, and I'm going to uncover it so you can see that it's still a nice color. It's still light. but we are now going to want to roast it with the tinfoil off. And what that will do is that will make the skin nice and crispy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the vegetables that I cut up earlier with Angeli, and I'm just going to put these, oh, the parrot wants some. So I'm just putting these around the chicken. So it's nice and it's surrounding the chicken itself. All right, so I just put mine in the oven, and we will come back in a bit to put the vegetables on for Kaz. And the reason that we're cooking for an hour first is to make sure that that chicken gets nice and cooked and it's moist. If we put the vegetables in too early, the vegetables are actually going to burn. So we're going to do an hour without the vegetables and then 30 to 60 minutes with the vegetables. So we shall be back. Thank you so much, Kaz.
All right, thank you.
So we decided to add some more things just to try. And Kaz is currently cutting up a couple of apples, and he is also going to add a red pepper to his vegetables.
Yeah, so we're adding the apples right now to our little bowl of vegetables. We were lacking food there, so adding some more.
And the red pepper that Kaz is going to add, I think the red pepper will be a nice, it'll be a nice contrast to the sweetness that we're going to get from the apple. So this will give it a really nice kind of sweet Mediterranean flavor.
Yes.
So I want to point out, Kaz is not cutting out the seeds that are in these. These are slightly sweeter peppers, and Kaz and I both like spice. So leaving the seeds inside will give it a little bit of bite to it, which is great.
All right, there we go. Now we have a bit more of a full bowl. Cover that back up and throw it in the fridge to add to the chicken in a little bit.
All right, so Angeli is back with us for this final part. Hello, and she has taken her chicken out. She can uncover that now. So just like we saw with mine, that is very lightly colored. Let me show you what happens when you cook it for that last half hour to an hour.
Ooh.
See how golden brown that looks? It's nice. It's pretty. So that's what hers is going to be, because we're going to keep it uncovered. So she's going to go ahead and add her veggies. And Kaz and I, as you saw, actually, Kaz did a wonderful job of coming up with adding some peppers and some apples to that. The apple will give it a nice crunch, and the pepper will give it a nice flavor outside of that, a little bit of spice to it. So excellent. Angeli is going to throw that back into the oven. And I did mine for an additional half hour. Angeli might need to do hers because it's a little bit bigger of a chicken for an additional hour. But she's going to check it either with a thermometer, and she's going to get it to 165 internally, or I'm going to show you another way to check. So I've got mine nice golden brown. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab right at the joint where the leg is, and I'm going to cut into it there to see what it looks like. And I don't know if you can see the inside, but that looks nice. It's cooked. There's no red. There's no blood. So this one is absolutely ready to carve. And I'm going to try this and see what this tastes like. Very, very moist. Remember I said we wanted to cover it for that first hour to make sure we keep the moisture in. And then we want to uncover it for the second half hour to make sure we get this nice golden brown crispy skin, which is exactly what we got. So they'll both taste a little bit different just because of the different vegetables, and the apple will give it a really nice, very, very Mediterranean taste to it. So theirs is going to be a little bit different. And now Angela's got an hour to wait, or at least 30 minutes. I would say check it in 30 to 45 minutes. Okay. And she will send a picture and let us know what that looks like. Thank you so much for joining us in our family cooking session, and happy eating. Thanks.
Yay!